The Short Code Podcast is a proud member of the MedEd Media Network. Inspiration, information, and guidance on your journey to medical school and beyond at mededmedia.com.
Meandering in the margins of medicine, it's the Short Code Podcast.
Weird news,
fresh views,
helpful clues, and interviews.
By students, for students.
Subscribe to our weekly show at theshortcode.com.
The challenge with feedback is that not all of it's useful, and some of it is even downright harmful, I guess you could say.
Hopefully someday I'm like a badass female attending, and I would still probably appreciate if a med student was like, you look fired today.
I did find one question that you could practice your communication skills with.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's my last show and I get to do my first Yahoo Answers.
Welcome back to the Short Coat Podcast, the show that gives you an honest look at medical school, a production of the University of Iowa Carver College of Medicine. I'm Dave Etler. With me today in the SCP studio, what a special treat! It's MD PhD student Aline Sanduk.
Hi.
I'm in awe when I say that we're joined by M3 Eric Bozart.
I, too, am in awe.
I'm deeply honored by the presence of the newly graduated Dr. Abby Fife, MD. And I know you don't have to say Doctor and MD, but, you know, you earned it.
It's kind of fun. Like, you have both, so,
yeah.
You know.
And in the form of ones and zeros, I'm freaking out because we're joined by M3 Morgan Kennedy.
Hello.
I'm freaking out because it's been a while, Morgan.
It's been a long while.
Yeah, it's been a while. You're here joining us when you're supposed to be studying for Step 2, that important board exam that, according to the National Board of Medical Examiners, assesses an examinee's ability to apply medical knowledge, skills, and understanding of clinical science essential for the provision of patient care under supervision and includes emphasis on health promotion and disease prevention. And I would like to point out, NBME, if you're listening, and I know you are, that sentence could use a period and a comma somewhere in there.
A semicolon.
I mean, come on.
It's not a test of grammar, Dave.
I mean, how am I supposed to trust you and your medical testing abilities if you can't even allow me the breath of life between phrases?
They're going to put you in you're going to need ALS.
I'll be in a coma by the time I'm done reading your... No. How's it going? How goes the studying? Where are you?
I am doing my study block from Nashville, Tennessee, which sounds, more fun than it is. Not doing a lot of fun stuff, but my fiance lives here. So it's nice to kind of have some flexibility in the schedule. Yeah. I mean, all it took for me to come back to the podcast after 2 years was to, try to procrastinate my Step 2 board studying. So It's going super well. Good. I just a couple days ago and, I feel a little burnt out already, but, it's going to be okay. It's the last one before graduation.
I had a psychic flash where I saw you, studying on a beach somewhere in a lounge chair under palm trees, surrounded by study materials and being waited on by an attentive cabana person who is providing for your every need. I thought for sure.
Is Dave pulling our way?
That was a true thing.
Did that really happen, Morgan? Don't joke. That sounds so nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. No,
What if Morgan was bullshitting us? She's like, oh, I'm in Nashville. It's terrible.
Yeah. How can we know that background is not fake?
It's a green screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. You can do a lot of fake backgrounds these days on Zoom. So
it looks so real.
Yeah.
The world will never know.
So full of shit.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm like going to concerts and stuff and eating good food, and so it's been a nice change of scenery.
You are. Perhaps they have palm trees in Tennessee. I don't think I've ever been to Tennessee. Do they have palm trees in Tennessee?
They sure don't.
Oh, okay. It's not south enough. Okay.
I did plant a garden though. I did that too.
You planted a garden?
Yeah.
Stop it.
I know.
Look at this med student being a real person with real interests. This is why they shouldn't have made Step 1 pass fail. This is what you would get, is all of us being a little bit happy in our lives.
And they eliminated Step 2 CS, so,
Mistakes.
I have a rumor that CS might come back.
There is a rumor out there.
When?
Why?
I think there's no way
It's like they
it could affect you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. No, they eliminated it during COVID because it was hard to do in-person
And it wasn't
exams.
necessary in any way.
Right.
Didn't they decide though that it was stupid also, and that's why?
Right.
But then they're like, but we could make it better than it is.
Yeah. But
Aline's like,
I just don't understand why they don't have enough money. I mean, I had to pay another $70 to get my step transcript sent to the licensing board.
Oh, geez.
you know, those electrons don't come for free, Abby. There is somebody at the NBME who is responsible for crafting each electron that gets sent
and
from them.
What's their salary? It's gotta be.
Each individual keystroke actually is what you pay for.
You're charged by keystroke.
You're charged by people who have to point their eyeballs at your paperwork, and so they just like pass it around the department. They're like, "All right, we got to 70. Send the bill."
That shit isn't easy, Abby.
It's ridiculous.
Boy, that's a lot of bitching we did about that.
I can go all day about the NBME. I'm just getting started.
I know. It's all past you now. You never have to do another exam again, right?
Nope.
Oh, gosh, I did not know that.
Yep.
Your next one will be step 3.
That's the
Right.
truth, which covers.
What is step 3? It's just another knowledge exam,
just
right?
step 2, part 2.
Yeah.
But I'm going into pediatrics, so like it covers like 5% pediatrics. Super relevant for my.
That sucks.
Yeah, but
You're gonna ace it.
I just need to pass.
Yeah, but you're gonna ace it. I mean, you're gonna ace it anyway.
I'm gonna try and take it soon, like probably November, because I'm just hemorrhaging adult knowledge these days.
Oh, yeah.
It's already started to leak out.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dr. Fife,
Yeah.
you're headed to New Mexico, as I believe we've discussed
Yes.
on the show before.
Yeah.
And in less than a month,
Yeah, less than a month.
you will begin your residency.
That's
My understanding of this time period in your life is it's all about paperwork.
Yep. I've done a lot of paperwork.
And you know what? I just want to say that the best podcasts are all paperwork based. You know, like where we just discuss paperwork.
Yeah.
That's why I bring it up.
Oh yeah.
All right, start with your
It
first
is pretty
form and then
thrilling.
walk us through it.
Yeah, so I had to fill out a form to get a form, and then I had to fill that form out. Yeah, I filled out a lot already, but I'm sure that during orientation, it's just going to be another mountain full. But really, I've mostly been just doing a lot of art and reading a lot of books and baking a lot of baked goods and taking a lot of naps. It's been really,
Sounds
really awesome.
So nice.
Sounds all right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you have a place to live?
In New Mexico?
In New Mexico?
Yeah.
Place to live would be good.
Yeah, I do have a place to live. I got Wi-Fi set up. That's the key.
Does it cost $100 a month like it does in Iowa City?
Actually, it's going to cost $20 a month for the first year.
See?
And then it's
savagery here. I'm sorry. I
go
can't.
up to $30 for the second year, which I'm like, just charge me $25. And
Do we want to switch from NBME to MediaCom bitching? Is that what we're
Yes.
we could.
I'm on board.
It's ridiculous. Internet costs a fortune in Iowa City. I don't know if it's like a Midwest thing, but yeah, it's craziness.
I actually found out though that I like qualify for Iowa Medicaid because I don't have an income currently.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And my parents' insurance allowed me to stay on until I graduated, but now I like don't have that anymore because I graduated. So I'm like I got the Medicaid to cover that gap, but I found out there's like a federal program that will pay you $30 a month for internet if you like meet certain qualifications, and one of the things you can do to qualify is be eligible for Medicaid.
Hey.
So I might get like 6 months of free internet. So
Before we stop talking about internet, I don't want to brag you guys, but I have Google Fiber here in Nashville.
Bitch, get out. I hate you so much. Do you guys?
It's really great, except for like twice every month when they're doing like construction on the corner and they like dig up the Google Fiber line, and we don't have internet for a couple days. But other than that, it's fantastic.
I remember when they first put it in Kansas City like a few years ago, right? Sorry, is that what you were going to say?
Oh, no. I was going to say I literally got home last night from the ED shift where I saw you.
Yeah.
And my wife's like, the dogs woke everybody up in the house, and my wife had the internet on, and she's like, I'm pretty sure our router needs to be reset or something. Come to find out at like 1 a.m. that like Mediacom just had a nationwide outage.
Oh, that explains it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're putting fiber. It's not Google, but they're putting fiber in my neighborhood too.
Yeah, my neighborhood too. They gave us caramel corn to try and get us to subscribe.
They gave you caramel corn?
Yeah, there was.
I didn't get no fucking caramel corn.
Yeah, there was like on our doorstep.
Where's my internet caramel corn?
You forgot to check the caramel corn box.
Did you already sign up? Because we haven't signed up.
Oh, well, I did fill out their online form.
Yeah, no, we haven't. We've just been completely ignoring them, and we got like a brochure and a bag of caramel corn.
You achieved level 2 in the customer service queue of things that we need to do to get people signed up.
So if you ignore them long enough from this point, maybe you'll get your own caramel corn.
Damn it! What do you think? What do we think level 3 is? It's level 3 like
gift bag,
maybe
like
get
one of
like
those like
cookies,
muffins or something.
Coffee.
Yeah,
that's coffee.
Wow.
Well, enjoy your nice internet, Morgan.
Yeah.
How nice for you.
Thank you so much. I also just, in case anyone hates awkward conversations, if you're trying to get out of an internet service to get into the fiber business, there are like discrete steps you can say so that they can't offer you their internet service again. Like basically you have to tell them you're moving out of the country to a certain location where they don't offer their internet service. And it did work.
What's the Friends episode? I'm moving to Yemen. Going to Yemen.
Drastic measures to avoid confrontation and awkward conversations with the Mediacom, AT&T internet providers.
How Midwestern of you.
I mean, I just keep saying no until I get frustrated and hang up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't get what I want because I hung up.
Mm-hmm.
So choose which method you want. I don't know which one sounds more effective.
What's on the docket for today?
All I can say is my son graduated from high school last week.
Mr. Etler.
On ASA's behalf, thank you. And so, yeah, we had graduation stuff. My mother was here for a few days, and so I didn't come to work. And then we had a student affairs retreat at Lake McBride on Wednesday. And then I came here yesterday and had a whole bunch of medical student performance evaluations to do for people. And then when I sat down to prepare for the show, I realized I had nothing.
Wait, you gonna do the MSPEs for people?
Yeah. I may have written yours. I don't really remember.
No, Dr. Terry Thompson.
I mean, she did the final paragraph.
Oh, you are the workhorse.
Me and another person assemble them. And then we call them writers because...
Thanks in advance.
I don't know why.
This is some hot tea here.
Giving credit where credit is due.
You know what? Here's the thing. When it comes to the MSPE, I've said this on the show before, when it comes to the MSPE, I'm just a glorified mail merge. I mean, I'm just choosing things to go into the... it's already been written, basically.
Right.
So I'm not doing anything other than transforming disconnected phrases perhaps into a sentence or correcting the egregious grammatical errors submitted by your attendings and residents.
You ever read a lot of evals and pick the good ones?
Yeah. Well, I pick the ones that tell the story. If the story is a bad story, then it could end up in your MSPE. I'm just saying, look.
I'm scared.
Dave, I would like to thank you.
This is easy. I'm sorry. Hang on, Morgan. Somebody has to thank me.
No, I just said I want to thank you for not putting the one eval in that said that I was argumentative and bad at getting interrupted.
Oh, you're bad at being interrupted?
I am bad at being interrupted.
Oh.
Like I don't possess the right skills that when someone interrupts me, I don't do that correctly. I don't allow them to interrupt me in the proper manner.
I see.
What a bizarre piece of feedback.
Isn't it really bizarre?
Very strange.
Really
I would
actionable.
love to learn how to correctly be interrupted.
Yeah,
if anyone has any knowledge.
I don't know what I could. I mean,
do you just like when somebody's like, no, you're wrong, and you just like plow forward?
You probably just kept talking when someone was like, hang on.
What I had been doing that rotation was they would interrupt me, and I'd let the attending and the fellow, and sometimes like whoever else have their conversation, and then I would be like, "Are you ready for me to keep going?"
That sounds like the perfect, like if I could think of a perfect way to be
100%.
interrupted, that would be it, to like allow the person to say
That's
whatever.
What I thought.
I think you're really good at being interrupted.
Wasn't from the people who were interrupting me. It was from the resident who was watching this occur. And I think she didn't like that I handled it with such like
aplomb.
Yeah. And that she thought that I like should just wait for them to ask me to keep going, but
yeah,
I don't know. I guess we're gonna talk about weird evals.
I feel let's
do you
do that.
remember these, Dave? Like, do you remember weird things like this?
You know, we used to keep a document of the ridiculous bits of feedback that we found in people's, but then we decided to get rid of it because I don't know, maybe that wasn't an approved use of.
Maybe it wasn't
be,
like
though.
technically.
I always wanted to do a segment on the show of like ridiculous evaluation quotes.
Well, I mean, if it's self-reported, like if students submit those, then
no, that was
could
like
be an
a
interesting
segment
piece.
in my class's frolics. We did like it was like mean tweets, but it was
The feedback?
like
That's
bad
actually
evals.
phenomenal.
That's hilarious.
Oh
It
my
was
God.
hilarious. And so we had like all kinds of bad so like I did the bad at being interrupted. Well, I didn't read it, but anyway, we like had that one. Somebody was told like on her first day of the OB rotation, they told her like she needed to be anticipating the attending's every move so that he wouldn't wait for her to hand. So we had ones like that, and then like every few ones, someone would be like, "Read more."
Yeah. Always
We get
the keep
more
reading.
all the time.
I'll take a read more over. You need to read my mind.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
Especially on the first day of a rotation too, when you still have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a stretch.
Somebody was told she needed to use her eyebrows more when she talked.
That was Emma.
Yeah, that was
Emma does have kind of a flat affect.
I don't even think it's that flat. It's just not like super expressive. Like,
If I take myself as a baseline, everyone has a flatter affect.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm very kinetic. But
and I have cultivated this podcast personality, I guess, at this point after so many years of doing this, where I'm like, "Welcome back to the Short Coat Podcast." So if I was, you know, like in the clinic, I'd be like, "Thank you for coming and bringing me your open wound."
You would definitely get some feedback on that.
he uses his eyebrows too much. Extra.
His eyebrows are all over the damn place.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
it's amazing.
The problem that evaluators face is that it's sometimes difficult for them to know how much you know, or how much you're basically how much you know, unless you're like talking and expressing yourself and all this kind of stuff. And I guess to some extent they want to know how enthusiastic you are about what you're learning. Although, I mean, I don't know if expressing enthusiasm is a strong measure of actual learning, but
yeah.
But you know, they've got a job where they have to decide whether you know the things that you need to know.
Yeah.
I feel like the evaluations are not so much about evaluating knowledge; they're about evaluating like the soft skills of being a med student.
I think the soft skills are a big part, but I think it's not necessarily like rote knowledge, but like, can you use your knowledge too?
Yeah.
Which is also hard to, I think, especially if you have an attending that doesn't give you any opportunity to use your knowledge, then they tell you to read more.
My favorite bit of feedback was perhaps we should both avoid telling the patient they have cancer when they don't.
Oh my God.
So, some.
Yeah.
I also hate how I handled that situation.
Yeah,
is what that guy's
that's
saying.
actually good feedback. I like that feedback
Yes.
because at least it shows like, okay,
Yeah.
Mistakes
I'm
were made.
also vulnerable to knowing how to do things sometimes.
I had a really fun one once. He told me that I think too highly of my patients.
Oh.
Whoa.
Like, I don't
What
know.
does that mean?
I think it was like it was like an internal med rotation, and this hospitalized patient who had she had some like psychosomatic things, but also had real somatic things, and I like worked really hard at trying to elucidate like this is psychologic and this is not, and I kind of defended her a little, or like tried to help her, not defend it, but I tried to help her express that to the team, and I think that they just wanted to dismiss it all as psychological. So
I would be proud to get that comment, Abby.
I know. I feel like
Kinda.
it
Badge
is
of
kind
honor.
of an honor. Like someone told me I should like put that on my CV and just like under awards or something.
No, Abby, you should be treating patients like the swine that they are.
I know. I should
I'm being
just be
sarcastic.
further obstacles in them getting appropriate care.
Mental. I
I
can't
know.
believe someone gave you that feedback.
sure the resident-
Some people, I mean, the challenge with feedback is that not all of it's useful.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of it is even downright
Inappropriate.
harmful, I guess you could say. Like if you were to take it as it, as it's given.
Right.
Yeah.
So, part of, and you will get a lot of feedback. Not all of it will be helpful. And your job is to just, take it in, decide what to do with it, make your decision, and move on. You've probably already gotten feedback in your life that was like, well, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
What every pre-med should do before starting med school is get a job waiting tables or serving coffee. Like there's nothing more.
Or doing
Care-
internet customer service.
Or be a telemarketer. Yeah. There's something about learning how to make people like you immediately when they are at their worst. And there's no group of people that are more difficult to deal with than hungry people who are also giving you money, so they feel super entitled for you to kiss their ass to the utmost. And if you can find a way to like make them happy, and like the feedback is immediate, your tip is your feedback, right? And I'm not saying it's right, but that is kind of like healthcare is a customer service job. Like the patient is a little bit of a customer, and you are the person trying to satisfy them, as the provider.
Although I feel like it's way harder often to please the team, the attendings, and the residents.
Well, I was going to say, the other problem that you face might be that, they feel a responsibility to point out things that you could improve on. And, to leave that field blank just feels like a missed opportunity to give you that feedback. And,
Right, yeah.
And so maybe they are just sort of nitpicking sometimes. But
yeah. I mean, and like, I have gotten good, not in the evals. The only like good constructive feedback I've gotten in evals has been feedback that was like delivered to me also in person.
Yeah. Most of the feedback you're going to get is probably in person.
Right. And so generally in the eval, either they will say something, completely bogus. They will say, that's like one option. They'll say, keep reading, or they'll either reiterate what they said / like be like, just like keep improving. So they don't like that section of the eval is just not super helpful because I don't know. I just don't think I've ever gotten feedback only in that eval that really like was helpful,
But we'll put it in your MSP.
Yeah. I feel like the MSPE and giving a subjective grade is like the only point of the written evals.
And I think that's something too that I think kind of shakes out a little bit because like, in the grades, there's kind of that weighted aspect of like, how often did you work with this person? Like how long, like how many half days?
Yeah.
Whereas, okay, the actual content of the eval is a completely different thing.
Right. I always feel like I don't necessarily mind the idea that a grade comes from an evaluation. Like I don't have, it's a little sketchy, but I do think there is a point to it of like are you doctoring well? Are you talking to the patients well? Are you applying your, like, we need to grade that in some way. I had a fellow on one rotation, and she was like, Abby, I want to evaluate you because I'm going to give you a really good one. And she gave about half 3s, half 4s. And then that cost me honoring that rotation, which is like not that big of a deal to not honor it. I near honored or whatever, you know. And then I actually was on another rotation later with this fellow, and she came to me and she's like, Abby, the med student just asked for an eval, but he told me that if I give him all 3s, he would fail. Is that true? And I was like, I don't think he would necessarily fail, but he would get a really bad score from that. And she was like, really? And she was like, and so then I told her about this, like what she had done to me, like, because it was kind of a situation where I felt like enough time had passed, I had matched, it was fine. Like, and she was horrified that she had done that she had cost me honoring a rotation, because in her mind, the eval she was giving me,
it's a scale of between 1 and 5. I mean, you would think 3 would be
average.
Yeah, and so in her mind, she was saying Abby is above average because she had given me
3s and 4s,
several 4s.
Listeners, if you ask us a question, it means that I don't have to make something up to talk about on the show, and the show becomes what you want it to be. So send your questions to theshortcoats@gmail.com or leave a message at 347-SHORT-CT. We'll talk about it on the show.
I think when we talk about doctors getting in trouble, this is the kind of stuff we mean. Like, doctors don't usually get in trouble because, like, they don't know enough. It's the soft skills, like being bad at teaching students, or just being, you know, a bad teammate, or being disrespectful to like allied professionals and things like that. And this is one of those skills, like giving effective, timely, constructive, actionable feedback is a soft skill that I think med students now are getting trained to be better at. But I think the problem now is that, like, we're kind of in between generations where you have this, you know, older guard community of doctors that just were never trained to do that. And so they're evaluating students based on like really subjective things that they can't really, like, you can't change the shape of your eyebrows. Like, that's ridiculous. But they're being told to evaluate students and they don't know how to. So they have that. But it does seem like it's getting better. So you have this like kind of hybrid community with younger people like us who are going to do a much better job because we've suffered
in theory,
through
you've also had some teaching, you've had some on how to do that. Whereas, like you say, the older folks may not have, or they may have learned incorrectly or something like that.
Yeah. The second comment I wanted to make, I would like to offer a piece of feedback to listeners that I think is really useful, which is...
We'll see.
Well, let's see. I don't know. And audience, let me know if like this isn't helpful, but this is helpful for like asking for evaluation, but like at their level as pre-meds, like asking for letters of recommendation. When you go to ask someone for a letter, make sure that you specify, like, ask them outright, do you feel comfortable writing a very strong letter for me? Like, don't just ask for a letter. Be clear that you want a great letter. And then in the same, you know, email or whatever conversation, feel free to be like, hey, if you don't feel comfortable writing a strong letter, what can I do to deserve a strong letter from you?
Yeah. What should I have
I
done
like
to?
that. That's super helpful.
Right? Like, because this happens.
This happened to me in the last couple of years where somebody, not a student, so a former coworker had asked, you know, for a letter of, had not asked for a letter of recommendation and just put me on the list. And I got a call and I was like,
irresponsible.
I can't do that
so,
for
like,
this person.
I was going to say, like, you have to think about how the request comes out. But also, it's on the person receiving the request to be like, to be honest about like, hey, I'm not sure I know you well enough to write a good letter. And there's a polite way to be like, I'm sure there are people in your life that understand you much better than I do, that know your strengths. Like, that's something I've said is like, hey, we haven't worked enough together, but there's time if you want to work together more, then I can get to know you better and write a good letter. But it's also on that person to recognize that like, hey, there's something at stake here. And if you aren't able to support this person in whatever the thing is they're applying to, be honest and say, hey, I'm not sure I'm comfortable. Maybe you should ask, like, I'll do it, but maybe ask someone else who knows you better and then come to me as a last resort. But So like there's an art to asking for someone to endorse you and how to handle a request for an endorsement. And I think it's getting better. But I wanted to throw that out there because I think giving the person a heads up that you're going to need an evaluation, making sure they know kind of what you need from them, which is like, hey, I need you to tell them I'm awesome. And if they're not comfortable with that, figure out what they need to hear from you to be able to say that you're awesome. So I hope that's helpful. I've learned that the hard way.
I think that sounds helpful. I was thinking, while you were saying that one of the problems with that advice might be that, in the case of these clinical evaluations, I believe, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that you basically just put somebody's name into a thing, into a computer, and they get a message saying, so-and-so wants an evaluation from you.
I never do that without asking them.
But don't you have to? Oh, yeah. So I was going to say, and that's what I realized is that, well, just because that's the system doesn't mean you have to do it that way. I mean, you have to, make that performance, but you can also ahead of time, as you said, go to that person. I
started out asking and pretty quick abandoned that practice.
me too, Abby. It was just like so much anxiety. And I just realized it wasn't feasible and no one else was doing it and it wasn't going to affect, my evaluation. They're expecting them. Because I used to spend so much time being like, will this person write one for me? Is this going to be awkward? What if they say no when I ask them? How is this scenario going to go? And it just wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
But definitely do that. So I mean, there is a point where you have to do that, which is like when you're getting ready to apply for residency.
Right. When letters of recommendation. Actually getting and then when I was like spring of my 3 years, so I knew the MSPE was coming up, I did a couple of times be like, hey, I don't need another eval. Like I have enough, but would you be willing to do one? And letting them know too that I actually want some comments on it for letting them know it was for the purpose of the MSPE. And then I was like, I'll do one for you because the residents do need evals too. And so I was like, I'll do one for you. Would you be able to take time to do a good one for me? And those are people who I was pretty confident were gonna have nice things to say about me ultimately. So, but yeah, I think if I especially if it's an attending, even a resident, it's part of their job here at the university to do those evals and teach us. And so I generally just sent it because I was like, okay.
I'm still in the boat of asking. Granted, I'm only halfway through my core year, so it's I still come at it from a point of especially if it's a resident that I've been working with frequently, it's one of those things where it's it's kind of like an end to the relationship a little bit. It's we've worked together for this long. Would you be open to reflecting on how I did, and I've had a couple I'm not sure if it was a resident or if it was a staff, but a staff member pulled me aside and was like, hey, it wasn't a turn down, but it was just kind of making me aware of how other staff might approach the situation. But it's I don't give out evaluations unless I'm confident that the person is, at that level where I can give a good evaluation. Kind of like what you guys were saying, where it's okay.
But that's not really the point of the evaluation.
Right. It's not, but
I think that it's understandable and it is anxiety provoking, but it's one of those things. And maybe it's just something that I've been working on myself, but it's I'm trying to open myself up to that feedback. So it's even though it's anxiety provoking to ask for it, I'm not going to get it unless I ask, and sometimes the most constructive feedback that you get is when you ask.
And then to finish the relationship, you give them a little kiss.
just on the resident feedback form, just a little
spray it with perfume and put it in the mail.
So I got told no for feedback without asking at one time. It was really hilarious. It was in my core rotation. It was on an inpatient service, and they the attendings were switching over. And so I had mostly been working with one attending, and it was the last day and someone new came on. And unbeknownst to me, like for the rest of the services, I think we requested like evaluations for who we wanted. But for this 1 week of inpatient, the course director just like automatically sent requests to these attendings.
Yep.
And so a request got sent to this attending like that morning before I had even met him. And so I'm like in the like room, we're doing, you know, patient presentations. I do my patient presentation in front of everyone, and he's like, good presentation, but I'm not going to do an eval for you because I don't know you. And I had no context to that. I was so confused.
You know what?
I have an idea of which rotation this is, and this explains some things that I have seen on comments where they're like, I don't know who this person is.
I was literally just like, because I didn't even know one got sent to him. I get where he was like, wow, that was presumptive of this medical student to ask me for an evaluation. But like, there's some disconnect there where like, he thinks I'm trying to get an evaluation from him. I was like blindsided and like, sir, I would never ask you for an evaluation. I've known you for 20 seconds.
I won't go on a date with you. And you're like, I didn't ask. I'm not even coming on to you.
That is exactly what it felt like. It was hilarious.
No, thank you. I didn't ask. Yeah. That's mental. That's crazy.
I was going to throw that in there just to kind of like the little twist of like some rotations, they do send them out on your behalf.
That is the caveat, I think, to my method. And I think neurology is one of them where they initiate them
skirting around it, but we'll jump right in.
I was gonna say So well, anyway, we can talk about, because that's kind of Iowa specific, but for anyone who hasn't, that's a good thing for people to know ahead of time, because you might end up in a situation where someone gets an evaluation you don't even know. So what I did when I found that out is, so I tried to initiate as many as I could before the end of the week, so that like, because when they see that you have them, I think they don't send them out, but if you have none, they're like, oh, we'll just do this for you. And so when I did miss it a couple times, I reached out to the people who got, had them initiated, and I was like, hey, just a heads up, you might be getting an evaluation about me, so let me know, and then try to like preempt, with my spiel. But
so intentional, Aline.
I like to be in control of the way that other people are looking at me.
Good luck with that.
And but it's you can't control everything, but you do the best that you can so that people get an accurate picture of who you are, So.
I love that this is what this show has turned into today. Evaluations are super weird. For anyone else listening, spend less time crying and stressing about them, I think. And not that I've done that.
Well, some people
would never, Morgan.
Experiences. I don't ever cry.
No?
No.
Let's see if we can. I'll see if we can change that.
Good for you.
See if we can change that by the time the show's done.
Oh no, I cry frequently. I cry frequently at work, not at work. It's fine.
Sometimes I wish I did more. I wish I was.
I would recommend.
Abby, poke him in the eye.
I thought you were asking about my crying habits. No.
Everyone go around and say how frequently you cry.
I cry all the time. Yesterday I was at my friend's, her husband was gone. I was at her OB ultrasound. She's completely fine. I'm just sitting in the corner weeping the whole time. I'm like, it's your baby.
Like tears of joy?
Yeah.
Okay. You do love the baby.
Okay.
I do love the baby.
I will admit that I struggled to keep it together on graduation day.
Yeah. Weddings. I'm a wedding crier.
Your wedding. How about your own?
You're totally gonna cry.
You better cry when she walks down the aisle.
Is it weird that I'm nervous that I'm not going to?
I'm sorry you're nervous.
Stone face, just seeing.
I don't think stone face is the look you want to go for.
No, even if you don't like tear up, I think you're still like you're gonna be.
Instead of I do
eyebrows, just use your eyebrows.
Yeah.
She'd be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
All right.
Yeah.
From the Why Ethics is Pretty Important in Medicine desk, a doctor in San Diego will spend 30 days in prison and a year under home confinement for selling a miracle COVID cure using email spam. Prosecutors say that during the worst of the pandemic and before vaccines and other treatments were available, Dr. Jennings Ryan Staley told prospective customers they could get the miracle drug by purchasing his coronavirus treatment kits. Of course, the drug was the one we all know is hydroxychloroquine. Once the darling of a certain past and hopefully not future president, whose name we won't mention here for fear that we might actually summon him to appear before us in a gust of halitosis,
And bronzer.
Yeah, go ahead, listeners, at me. Even though the drug was in short supply because people were trying to get it to help with COVID, Staley told an undercover Fed that he had a source in China who would help him smuggle it into the country, labeled sweet potato extract, to fool customs. You know what, criminals? There's a good chance that you're talking to a Fed when they're like, hey, how you going to get it? How you going to get it? That seems like something you'd be hard to get. How do you get it?
Red flag.
Yeah.
His business is called Skinny Beach Med Spa.
Yeah.
Skinny Beach Med Spa.
Yeah.
That sounds not great.
That sounds like how they dropped the word chicken from Kentucky Fried Chicken because it's not technically chicken, or it's like the percentage of chicken contained in it is too low for them to truthfully call it chicken. So it's like, you can't say medical, it's med.
His business used to be called Totally Legitimate Hospital.
Totally a real MD. Yeah.
Yes, Skinny Beach Med Spa offered world-class beauty innovations at affordable prices, according to their tagline, including Botox, fat transfer, and hair and tattoo removal. Fat transfer?
Yeah.
I guess you might want to move fat from one place to another. Is that what we're talking about?
That's a thing.
Okay, it's not from one person to another. Okay.
No.
I'm just confused how, like, with that background, then they thought that they should also go into like COVID cure lane, but
Well, the kit also included a concierge medical experience for 30 days, I think. IV treatment, hyperbaric oxygen, and prescriptions for azithromycin and an anti-anxiety med. So,
maybe just do all that stuff without the hydroxychloroquine, like that.
Okay, but what is the deal with the azithromycin?
I was gonna say, why is that thrown in there?
Why is that everybody's favorite antibiotic to misprescribe?
What is it supposed to be used for?
Well, nothing, because not nothing, but like we used it so much inappropriately that now all the bacteria are like shot azithromycin. I was about to say
that was part of my ED rotation yesterday. I went from talking about doing Vasosin for a patient, and resident kind of looked at me and was like, "Oh, what? That's what you want to do?" I'm like, okay, let's go azithromycin. He's like, you swung from one side to the other. I'm like, crap.
Yeah, gotta land in the middle between there. That was a really big swing you made there.
I was like, I don't know. I didn't quite understand where we were going, but he was like, let's try to meet in the middle somewhere. I was like,
try to get an antibiotic that's actually still an antibiotic, but like not vanc.
Just because someone's a doctor, it's not a guarantee they're a good and ethical person. That's let that be a lesson to the audience. We have people go into medicine for all sorts of different reasons. And, the predominant one is like, I want to help people. So there's a higher likelihood of them being like, a good and ethical person. But like, there's bad people everywhere. And you don't know because they look just like everybody else. So.
Yeah, there's bad people in every single field. It's just really unfortunate that when you have an MD attached to your name, you have the power to manipulate people in this way and really cause a lot of harm to patients and to like trust in the medical system in general. And it's hard to believe that something like this could happen. But there are bad people everywhere, but this has just had a large ripple effect.
Take this with a grain of salt. I agree with everything Morgan said. Take this with a grain of salt. If someone is like trying to convince you to do a thing, walk away. Yeah. Even if you agree with it, even if I agree with someone, the second I feel like someone's pressuring me into agreeing with them, or I feel like they're trying to control the way that I think, and I just have to walk away. It's just a huge red flag for me. The
very best doctors don't do that.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the way I heard it put, which I thought was amazing, is like doctors should be choice architects. Mm-hmm. They're designing the city and then you navigate it with their support, but ultimately you control where you go. I like that a lot.
This is why sometimes I'll get emails from people who want to be on the show and they're like, I'd like to talk to you about how I do urology. And I'm like, or whatever it is they're gonna like. Why would you need the Short Coat podcast to help you talk about your business?
That's the other thing.
I don't understand that.
The best advertisement is word of mouth.
Right.
Like there's certain brands that never go on sale because they don't need to. They don't even need to advertise. It sells itself because people love the product. And similarly with a person, like some doctors don't need to advertise. Like they just get a lot of referrals because their work speaks for itself.
Shortcoats, if you're enjoying our conversation today, I'd be grateful if you'd let people know by posting a story on Instagram or Facebook or tweeting about us. And don't forget to tag us in your post.
Thank you.
Some people find it hard to give or even accept compliments. Abby, something I've been meaning to tell you.
Oh my gosh. I'm already uncomfortable.
It's been wonderful to have you on the show the last few years. And I have been impressed by your commitment to justice and truth while maintaining a sort of a no bullshit allowed attitude.
Okay.
There you go. That's
Thanks,
my compliment.
Steve. That was really nice, Steve.
Was it nice?
It was.
I mean it. I remember once, what was it? You were going to be on the show and I was asking you to prepare more than usual and you were very busy and you were like, this is not what I signed up for. And I was like, okay, cool. At least I knew exactly what do you remember what I was asking you to do? It was the relationships or the newlywed game one.
Yeah, I was like, I don't have I asked like 2 people and they were both like no, and I was like, I'm not gonna drag somebody in here with me.
Savvy was like, I didn't anticipate this would be this much trouble, so maybe I'm out. I was like, yeah.
No for me.
I was like, yeah, okay.
No, I find it too intolerable to be fake in any way. So
there you go. I gave you.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. I think it is a compliment. And so let's practice.
Oh man.
Let's practice these. So you'll each take turns giving and receiving compliments. I haven't.
This is really quite the game, Dave.
I mean, there's this. So let's do this as like a no laughing challenge. Though.
A no laughing challenge.
So givers, you do your best to make the taker laugh with your compliment, and takers, you can't laugh.
It's supposed to be like true compliments about someone that are also supposed to make them laugh.
I mean, give it. I think that would be the best kind of.
What happens if I'm the giver and I laugh?
No, you shouldn't laugh.
So do I lose then?
Yeah, you get kicked out of the room and you have to relocate to some place like New Mexico.
Okay.
We'll kick you right out of Iowa.
Well, dang.
Oh God.
Let's see. Aline, Eric, why don't you try first?
Okay. Who should give or receive first?
I don't care. You can give.
Okay. I sure like the color scheme you chose for your outfit today.
Oh, God.
Yes, I'm winning already.
I'm colorblind, but it looks pretty gray.
I was thinking about it before I came in today too. I was running a little bit behind. I looked down at the shorts that I picked out. I'm like, crap.
I can laugh now because you laughed first.
Your neutral, your color scheme is leaving plenty of opportunity for other people to pop. How about that one?
It's so inoffensive.
I think if you were to ask my wife to be, she'd be like, this is your personality. Just neutral.
Surely she married you for your neutral. She's going to be marrying you for your neutral personality. She's like, I'm marrying Eric because I want to. Yeah, I want to look good.
He allows me to pop.
Yeah. Eric, would you like to return a compliment?
Well, thank you, Aline. Right. I appreciate about you your willingness to give very sound and applicable advice to your fellow medical students.
She had her eyes closed.
Yeah, is that cheating?
As though, yeah, I think you have to look into each other's eyes.
But I'll laugh and and I want to win.
Aline, has your stand-up comedy experience made you better or worse at this game?
Oh,
I feel like it might help you out because you have to
a bit of an advantage.
get through a joke without laughing on stage.
Yeah, but
is
that's her
true.
own joke that she's rehearsed a million times.
It's
you know?
true.
I know. But I'm like so guilty of laughing at my own jokes. I could never.
Oh my God. I don't understand this tradition of not laughing at your own jokes. I mean,
It's weirdly unseemly.
I
not
love
done.
when I feel funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna laugh.
I think some of the best stand-up like it's an authenticity. Like you're not taking yourself too seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay.
We all love on like SNL when they laugh.
Oh,
That's
it's
my
the best.
favorite, Yeah.
Yeah. There's two schools of thought on that. Some people hate it and some people love it. And I think that well sums up, what's his name? Jimmy Fallon. People either loved or hated Jimmy Fallon because he kept breaking character. And yeah, some people, you're right. Some people saw that as like, oh wow, like this is so good. Even the professionals are laughing at it. So
it's the same with like Bill Hader. Bill Hader's another one of my favorite.
God.
Yeah.
That's
he is the king of not laughing at himself. So when he breaks character, you're like, oh wow, I should be dying right now. And usually you are. So yeah. But thank you for actually the very nice compliment. Like I said, I wanted to win, so I didn't laugh. But like that was very.
I mean,
nice
I
of
don't
you
know
to
that.
say.
I don't know that he did what he was supposed to do, which is try to make you laugh. I mean, he gave you a sincere compliment.
He's making my heart laugh.
Oh,
with that very nice compliment.
I think this day and age, it's hard to give sincere compliments, and especially to like people that maybe you don't know like thoroughly well too. So it's like it not only makes the receiver of the compliment feel uncomfortable, like it can make the complimenter also uncomfortable of like, is what I'm saying like coming from a sincere place.
Yeah.
Maybe Abby can use this exercise as a way to practice giving people evaluations, but ones that make them laugh.
Maybe that's what I should do. Should be my goal in every eval. Elicit a giggle.
Abby, Morgan, would you like to give this a shot? It's going to be hard for Morgan to look you in the eye since her camera.
Yeah, I can really see everyone's eyes except Abby's, which is kind of funny.
Where should I look?
There's the cameras up there.
Down a little further. There.
That camera. I think that one.
No, that one up there.
Okay, but she told me to look down, and now the light is really blind. Okay, Morgan. I really appreciate that since you're joining us via Zoom, or actually, no, wait. I really appreciate that you've had a pen in your hand for a large amount of this episode, and you have had the self-control to not click your pen a single time.
Wow. For real.
Thank you.
Laughter.
I giggled a little bit before that even too. That is, wow. I didn't even realize that about myself. So I'm like fidgety, but maybe not annoying.
Yeah,
That's
very respectful.
Fidgeting without clicking the pen.
It takes a certain amount of self-control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it bad that your compliment made me self-reflective and realize that I totally do that, especially when I'm with patients? I'm sitting in the room just clicking my pen.
Oh, really?
Take this as some feedback. Look at me. I achieved both.
You're already good at it.
I elicited a giggle and I helped Eric.
God, you checked a lot of boxes with one compliment.
Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm so ready. I'm so ready to be an intern.
You got
you
this.
are. Yeah,
you
you
got this.
This is all it is, really, right here.
Well, let's do. Morgan, do you have a compliment that you would like to return to Abby?
Yes, Abby. In the brief periods where you've drank your water and I've seen your smile without your mask, you have no food in your teeth that I can see and a beautiful smile.
Oh, that's nice. So hard. I mean, it's hard not to tear up about that, right?
I know. I've really had to work on my poker face when I hear just crazy stuff from patients. So I've really used that skill now.
Not having food in your teeth is an awesome skill, though.
Mm-hmm.
For real.
Yeah, that is a good thing that I did. I don't think I had anything green when I ate before here, but I did have red peppers in my food. So I
want to give a real compliment too, since this is your last.
Oh my gosh.
Your last one, okay. I also appreciate your ability to be yourself all the time and to make people feel comfortable around you. And when I was a wee lad and I went into the clinics for the first time and I still thought I wanted to do pediatrics, you were there on some type of rotation doing what's it called where you like work, it's the ECE type thing, but
Early
with the
clinical experiences. Yeah.
and I don't know if I was with you, but you were there and you were so helpful and have still made a lasting impression on me and made me feel really comfortable in that scenario. And so you're going to be a wonderful doctor and wonderful to work with medical students.
Thank you, Morgan.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I don't even remember when you did your ECE, but
that's rude.
Yeah, I think I was with Zoe. I was with Zoe. I was with Zoe, but you were just there.
Yeah. Now I got you now.
Yep.
Yeah. Yay.
Well, that's very nice.
I'm glad.
A well-placed compliment will really brighten your day.
Oh, 100%.
And like a real one, an authentic one, and one that like brings something to your awareness that like you didn't think about before is really nice. Like I was beaming at that compliment, like for you. It's awesome.
We don't do it enough.
It's true.
Yeah, we don't.
You know why? Because too many assholes have appropriated compliment giving for nefarious purposes. And so when you go to give a real compliment,
you mean like, hey baby, nice ass.
Well, I mean, yeah, that, but like, I mean, a little more creative than that.
You should smile more. You're beautiful.
I know, but like, you know, it's true when you try to be really nice to people. So many people are jaded, me included. I'm like, what are you after? Like, what do you, what's the game here?
Right.
But
what do you get out of
this? Is really,
Yeah,
this is exactly what I was thinking about this actually Wednesday evening. So after the student affairs retreat, we went to Big Grove and had a couple of beers and, you know, some appetizers, and Amy Ahern was there and she's wearing this baseball hat. So I never see Amy in a baseball hat because, you know, she's here looking all pro, right? She's wearing a baseball hat and she looks super cute in a baseball hat, but I was like, oh, I don't know if I can say that to a coworker. I don't know if I can say you look super cute in a baseball hat.
Thanks, sexual harassers.
I know. Well, and so, you know,
taking that away from me.
I never said it, but it was one of those things that I noticed. Like, she's a baseball hat person. You know?
Yeah.
Now she can hear it on the podcast.
Or like like when you see like, I'll see like sometimes like a really badass like female attending, and they're being super badass while they look incredible. And sometimes I want to like compliment like your outfit or like you look great.
Yeah.
And that like, but I feel like if I just compliment their look, like because women were often like that was the only thing,
Right.
even though like, I don't know, hopefully someday I'm like a badass female attending, and I would still probably appreciate if a med student was like, you look fire today.
Is it weird though?
I very much resonate with that, Abby.
Yeah. Is it weird that I resonate from that, like from a male perspective too? Like, because there are definitely a couple of attendings and residents that I've worked with that I'm like, that are female, and I'm like, you are badass. Like I appreciate the way that like you practice medicine while doing that too, but like at the same time, kind of like what Dave was saying, like you can't. I mean, this day and age,
you're not supposed to talk about how somebody looks.
Right.
You know, that's what I was thinking. Maybe there's like, I was thinking about your Amy Ahern. Maybe the way to tell her is like, hey, and I know this is going to come off as a joke, but honestly, your head is perfectly shaped for hats. Like, like not everyone looks
You're really good at this compliment game.
Right?
The listening laughs.
I don't know. I think about that with attendings all the time. I think it's...
I'm not going to... what am I going to say to Amy about this? How am I going to... I'm like, Amy, we devoted a lot of time to your look during the...
Your head shape.
Your head shape.
Not your look, your head shape, remember?
On the podcast.
Perfectly shaped.
Yeah.
She already sometimes is like, Dave, you are so weird. And she's not wrong.
For the other stuff, I think something I've noticed people respond really well to that's like completely above board is like, I really like that person's energy. I appreciate that person. And I tell people that all the time, like, I really like your energy. And like, I think what they take from that is like, I don't know, like I come off as powerful. Yeah. Like they feel powerful and like well respected. So energy is a easy thing. No one can be mad at that. It's not specific to their appearance or anything. So.
My daughter has taken to using Girl Boss as a compliment for people of all genders. And first of all, I didn't know that girl boss was a gender neutral compliment, but I guess
I'm not sure that it is. It has girl in the name.
I think it's moving. I think she claims that it's moving towards gender neutrality.
The kids set the tone.
I gotta trust the teenager.
Right?
Yeah. By the time it gets to us, it's not cool anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm already somehow like ancient when it comes to the youths these days.
The youth.
The youths.
Abby, you have the most in for sure.
You sure will.
I know, but I'm much better with the smaller youths.
The ones that can't talk yet.
Yeah. No, I love my tiny little babies and my toddlers and my preschoolers and even my elementary school aged kids.
Where's the cutoff, though?
The cutoff is somewhere.
Do we want to go into this?
Around middle school is when I start to just feel a little less like I just inherently know and feel like more comfortable and confident with a 2-year-old than an adult. And so probably around middle school is where that inherent, like, I know how to handle you.
Middle schoolers are they're hard to read.
Yeah.
They're a tough room.
It's like they're starting to look like adults and they get a little drunk on the power, but they still have the mind of a child, so they don't know how to wield that.
And
the bullying in middle school is a real, it sucks.
They also many of them sort of get this flat affect with adults that you're like, okay, well, I have no idea where I stand with you. So. For those of us that depend on feedback in our social interactions, it's a little.
You can't bribe them with stickers, like in the like sometimes.
That's the cutoff.
Sometimes you get like back, like you swing the other way. If you get like a 17 or 18-year-old, sometimes they appreciate the irony of being offered a sticker. But like,
amazing.
No, you can't. Once they're like 12 or so, they don't care about a sticker.
Yeah,
they're too cool.
You got to start offering them. I don't know.
Ecstasy.
I don't like.
Hey, you did great with your shots today. Here's some drugs. Just kidding.
I think that would go over real great with my idol. Yeah, they would be like, sure, that's totally okay for you, a doctor, to be doing.
Oh boy,
it's the wave of the future, guys. Yeah.
Well, I have one more thing to talk about on the show today that I wanted to get to. And I did, it's been a while since we were able to accomplish this because of the shutdown of Yahoo Answers. But I did find one question that you could practice your doctoring communication skills with. Are we ready?
Oh, I'm so excited. It's my last show and I get to do my first Yahoo Answers.
Well, I hope you like it. Here is this person.
21 days constipated, huge turd, now just blood-tinted jelly that smells like canned cat food. Cause for concern. I have a fear of pooping in public, so I abuse Imodium to an extreme degree. The blood probably came from a tear from passing the mess that was roughly the size of an eastern box turtle, as it was bright red. It's probably worth noting that I eat like crap Walmart baked goods and cheddar sour cream potato chips. Almost exclusively. Is there any reason to panic? The blood, the jelly, the burning. What should I watch out for? If anything, is there anything I can do to make this go smoother? I'm very scared.
Wow.
Okay.
What an indictment of our public education systems for sure.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What if you...
The burning, the jelly.
Oh man!
I would not be able to keep a straight face. I don't care how professional I was.
Well, if if that person said it with that voice, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
That voice was doing a lot of heavy lifting with this laughter.
Yes, it was.
In the speed too, because you know that patient that's just rapid fire. Like, here's my problem.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, can we eat an apple?
Just one a day.
Let's work our way up.
Have you heard the saying, I stay away if you eat an apple a day?
No, and I'm like totally like going somehow and I'm like, all right, we need to increase your fiber. I'm going to start you on some Miralax, and we need to do a rectal exam.
And maybe, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it valid? Is it correct to say that we need to titrate their Imodium?
Remove all
Dosage.
Oh, we're not
Probably.
titrating the Imodium. We are just DC.
Yeah.
Oh.
There are some things you can buy over the counter that like today would never get approved. And I think Imodium is one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Imodium does a lot of harm.
Yeah.
Does it?
Oh
People
yeah,
do actually
people are
abuse it.
using it like that left and right.
Oh, I thought this was a very unusual thing that people would do.
I think teenagers use it. Well, like people with eating disorders will use it to lose weight fast, and
Oh, okay.
wrestlers use it too to make weight.
Yeah.
I would like to point out that, nobody poops in public. I mean, yes, there are public restrooms, but, that's not truly public. I don't know why you're afraid of pooping in public.
I don't know. In multi-stall bathrooms, you are using the bathroom, and it's disgraceful.
Own it, man. That stink. That's me. That's how I roll.
At some point, we should talk about public bathroom etiquette because there are some savages.
You're going
out
down
there.
some rabbit holes here because taking a call in a stall in a public restroom.
Oh yeah, I don't. I also
that
don't
bothers
like.
me.
I remember one time I was in one of these bathrooms. I don't know if I'll put this on the show, but I was in one of these bathrooms, not in the stalls, and somebody walked in. There were other people, and it was a fairly, the bathroom was in use, and somebody walked in from off the street. I think somebody was just passing by and needed a restroom. Somebody walked in and was like, "Woo!" What died in here? And I was like, wow.
What is it supposed to smell like? It's a bathroom.
That is an aggressive thing to walk into a bathroom and do amidst a crowd of people.
Yes.
That is aggressive.
Oh my God.
Multi-stall bathrooms are primitive and should be outlawed. I honestly, I've gotten to a point where if it's not a single-use bathroom, I just walk away. I will hold it all day just so I can call nature at home. But
would you share these ideas with your look, I totally understand where you're coming from. For example, in my life, I will seek out the private bathroom down by the coffee shop.
I'll go out of my way for a single use.
Right.
I will walk miles for a single use.
That said, you got to let it out.
Yeah,
so, don't
hurt
abuse
yourself.
Imodium.
But I mean,
to the point
surely
where
we're at least at home in the morning and the night.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. What's going on there?
Like
some of us are out here playing Russian roulette with their bowels, just gambling with whatever situation they'll be in when nature comes a knocking.
Yeah.
It's hard. Some people though are like, I'm so sorry I opened this door. I'm so sorry, audience.
Opened the door.
I'm glad you did, Aline. Though I'm glad because there's
things need to be talked about.
There are some savages.
There are. I'll tell you some things that will immediately make me dislike someone. If I have to use a multi-stall bathroom and I exit the stall and there are other stalls available, but the person will walk in right behind me, what is wrong with you?
That's sus.
It's like going to a buffet and I stuck my hand in the salad. You have other salad options, but you decided to eat the salad I put my hand in. You have brought this on yourself, whatever your experience is. Actually, second worst to that is when you do finally find your single-use bathroom and someone knocks at. So first off, you have to knock. If the door is closed and it says, like sometimes you can't tell that but you always knock. And
can I say though,
I don't do that.
Some
You
people
have to
just
knock.
jiggle the handle.
Yeah, that's so aggressive.
You gotta lock the door.
I still have the fear of being the person to accidentally just barge in and just like.
When
what if they forgot to lock the door?
on the toilet and suddenly the handle is like, especially like I don't necessarily mind if it's just like a one.
Aline's estimation of me has just declined
if the
drastically.
person
It's okay, we'll
just
talk about
tries
this.
once, that's startling. But what really is horrifying is when they're like, and I'm like,
I wonder why this door is locked. Like, what do you think? Do you think the sign was lying? Do you think it was a test?
See, here's what I do. You walk up to the door and you just give it a little nudge. The handle.
Sure.
Just give it a little nudge. Not enough to make very much noise. You know what I'm saying? You just give it a little tap.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't move the right way, you know it's locked. You don't have to like friggin' act like a safe cracker with it. You know, just
up against the door. Just,
If I'm in a place though where the single-use restrooms are like frequent, like then you definitely need to knock. Like there are some places where it's like I know like there's a 50-50 chance someone's in this bathroom, then you have to knock 100%. If it's like a low trafficked area and you don't knock, I will say that's
fair.
Maybe I should reevaluate my approach to bathroom.
Just think about adding in a little knock right before.
For all those
We've all been walked
for
in
everyone
on.
involved.
We've all been walked in on, right? I mean, that's not that's not.
But usually,
I'd
like,
much
not in
rather
a
get
public.
walked in on than walk in on
Oh
someone
yeah, I don't really
else,
care when people walk in on
100%.
me for some reason.
Guys,
As long as they're not like, what?
Has anyone noticed the 7th floor bathroom across from the student lounge where someone has labeled it like pee with friends, pee without friends for the walk?
There are actually a lot of bathrooms in the hospital that are labeled as like where. So then when you're sitting on the toilet and you panic, did I lock it? You can see visually. Did you get it correct?
Yeah, that'd be.
They've sharpied it in like
there's
with
like a
an
little
arrow.
just like a little line on where it should be, and I really appreciate that. But the pee with friends one is
pretty
just funny. The single use bathroom by the Children's Hospital cafeteria, best bathroom in the whole hospital.
You can tell which bathrooms are frequented by staff because usually there's going to be like a spray in there. Or some kind of sign saying like, hey, please spray after use, or something like that. Or there's like a pot of flowers or like some other indication that they've made this a little homier than it was before.
No, but this bathroom is huge, quiet. There's like a big counter. So if you need to like set something down, you have a clean place to set it. There's a big mirror. So if you need to fix your hair in the middle of the day.
I do appreciate some of the bathrooms around here in Murph that like have hooks and stuff that you could just like hang a jacket like quickly.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they have those shelves that fold down. My next complaint is when people wait there for you to get out. Like, go and find a different bathroom. Like there's hundreds of them.
Immediately flee, especially if it's locked. I'm like, nope. I
don't use the bathroom after someone at my home with my family. I give it 20 minutes because I'm not an animal. I mean, for God's sakes. That's the craziest thing when I walk out
the
and they're
person
like
is out there being like, well, there certainly can't be any other restrooms in this large educational building.
I understand when like it's a patient at the hospital because those folks are lost.
They don't. They wouldn't know. That's true.
They walk into the building and the size of it, and it just overwhelms them. And they felt so happy they found a bathroom.
Most of my criticisms are aimed at fellow employees.
Okay.
If I see a badge, you better not be out there. You better have left, or otherwise
I'm scared now.
Aline's taking notes.
Outside of a bathroom.
I don't have like bathroom anger, but I get so mad at fellow staff in the elevators when they don't follow etiquette. Like,
because you
better stand to the back of the elevator to facilitate the people getting on the elevator quickly. If you're by the buttons and everyone is loaded, you press that button again so the door closes. Don't you be pressing the door close button. That is a placebo. But what really works is if you press one of the buttons that's already lit up a second time, then door closes right away.
Is that true?
Yes, no, it's 100% true. Go try it. Go walk to the hospital right now and get in an elevator, hit a button, and then hit the door close button. Nothing happens.
Close button is fake news.
I think I'll end the show first before I go on this exploration.
No, we'll take the show with us.
We'll all take the microphones.
The elevator etiquette is applicable in many settings. For example, the metro. The people who get on without letting everyone else off. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? It's a matter of physics. Like there's no room for you unless I get off. It's a 1-to-1. It works. It's for both of us that you should wait for people to get off the metro or the elevator.
This is more applicable towards the fall when new students come, but the whole like not going all the way to the back of the bus, and like the people who stop right in front of the stairs, and there's like a whole line of people, and you're just like, come on.
Yeah, we bus drivers, we former bus drivers talk about this a lot, me and my wife. And the thing that we used to do, especially when it was super crowded, is, we would, if nobody would move back, we would turn off the bus and just sit there until people moved back.
Wow, high stakes.
Yeah.
Because it gets real quiet, and everybody's like, well,
and they always act
clearly
surprised.
the bus is not going to go anywhere if we don't do what we're...
It's one thing if like they're getting off at the very next stop. I can understand. You don't want to schlep all the way to the back and then just, run up to the front.
I know, that would burn like a half a calorie.
All right. You're a little more of a purist than I am on this, but yeah, we should petition Emily Post to write a book about this. I like whatever organization, they've written a COVID like etiquette guide.
Sure.
So, yeah.
This is important stuff. Well, I mean, that's our show.
You're welcome, listeners.
What a show.
You're welcome. Aline, Eric, Abby, Morgan, thanks for being on the show with me today.
Thanks, you guys.
Thanks, Dave.
Guys.
Bye, Shortcoat listeners. I'll miss you.
We'll miss you too, Abby.
Thank you.
We'll all miss you. Thanks for Shortcoats for making us part of your week. If you're new here and you like what you heard today, follow the show wherever fine podcasts are available. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube. Our editors are Maddie Wallin and me for now, but we got more coming soon. The show is made possible by a generous donation by Carver College Men's Student Government and ongoing support from the Writing and Humanities program. Our music is by Dr. Vox and Catmosphere. I'm Dave Etler saying, don't let the bastards get you down. Talk to you in 1 week. Hi, Shortcoats. Look, life in medical education, life in America, life in the world is often difficult. And I often wish I could help. All I have is this podcast, but in my wildest dreams, you have the support you need to lead a life of your choosing. You deserve to be happy, healthy, and successful in whatever ways you define those words. So if you need support because you've experienced racism, discrimination, harassment, mental health crises, I want you to be able to get the help that you need. And so I'm going to put some links in the show notes to some resources that you can use. But the bottom line is that for what it's worth, I see you. I know you're out there. I wish I could do more. Maybe I can in ways that I don't understand yet or know about. But I see you, and I'm glad you're here, and other people are too.